Oh, it's the 9 o'clock hour, and it's Pastor Steph again. Welcome to There's More to Be Said. Man, I struggled this evening to find what God wanted me to talk about. And I want to thank all of you for coming on. Please don't waste not another second. Text somebody, call somebody, tell everybody that Pastor Steph is on with There's More to Be Said. Now, I had a couple of people send out some announcements about the fact that we were going to be on. I announced this morning that we were going to be on, and I can't wait to show the videos. I mean, just really took my breath away. If you're in the room, if you always hang out with me, you know what to do. If you're in the room, you got to give me a shout out to let me know you're in the room. Other than that, I don't know you're in the room. I can't see you like you see all of us and you see one another. So I want to definitely give a shout out to my girl, Renee. Hey, Renee, thank you so much for sending out the announcement. Sean, thank you so much. I'm going to call you Sean. I'm going to assume that this is Sean checking in with Pastor Steph. Thank you so much, Sean, for accepting the invite that Renee sent to you. Renee says, buckle up. Yeah. I think that is like the most appropriate thing. We got to check in from our girl, Ketty. Hey, Ketty. Thank you so much for joining us. And as always, I got to give it a shout out to the ladies who make sure that we're always up and running on our Facebook Live, Coach for Christian Life, our YouTube Live, and that's our Closer Walk Christian Media Network. And that's our girl, Anika. Hey, Anika. Thank you so much for holding us down, girl. And Shantice, who preps our video for the evenings. Thank you so much. Shantice. I gave her this at the very last minute. So thank you so much for just fitting me in and accommodating me. Okay, so I'm glad I have that right. Yes, Sean, thank you so much for joining us. Now, earlier today, if you were on with us this morning on this Due Time with Pastor Steph, we had our relationship dilemmas this morning because it's always relationship Mondays, although we are shaking the Monday morning blues. So we had our Pastor KL and our brother Al on with us this morning, and we talked about there being a man. I believe he was 58 years old. He's 58 years old, and he has a daughter who has written him and the wife and the rest of the family off. From the time she got with this guy and dad got a chance to see what this guy she was with was really like, he expressed it, and from what I understand, others expressed it, and she was like quite upset to the degree where she not only married him but canceled everybody's invitation to the wedding. She has written them off. She has nothing to do with them. So it's pretty much, I don't want to say that. That's pretty presumptuous that she's isolating him, because I know some people are kind of wacky. They do things on their own. And he keeps in touch with a friend of the, from the neighborhood, who's a friend of hers. And she advised him that, there were children, they had children. So he and the wife periodically go over, and each time they go over, she slams the door in their face. She will not invite them in. She tells them how much she hates them. And she tells them that she does not want them to see the children. Well, he is at the point of preparing his will. And he is really struggling with, does he leave her out of the will or not? And the siblings, her siblings, his other children, are saying, get rid of her off the will. Don't even worry about it. She has said she doesn't want to be bothered, don't want to be bothered. So we have our men on this morning, and they both say no. Do not include her in the will. There was a further question that did ask, hey, well, what about the kids? The kids never got a chance to meet you. The kids are kind of caught in the crossfire of all of this. And what do? Do you leave like her portion to them? And the answer was no. And basically, because listen, she has really X'd everybody out of the picture. She has not included them at all as grandparents. So your parents have made their choice. Bye-bye. So bye-bye money and everything else. So that was one of our relationships, the biggest relationship dilemma today. Well, tonight, just looking through some videos on Instagram, just really searching for what do I talk about? Because when I'm on here with you with There's More to Be Said, it's got to be riveting. It's got to be controversial. It's got to be thought-provoking. It's got to be challenging. It's got to be like, for me, that wow factor, or either why am I on again? So I came across one huge video that for me personally, as a parent, a mom of 3, blew my mind. You know, I was the type of parent, I just was no nonsense, just no nonsense. I came from no nonsense parents, and I just kept that trend. I was a single mother, and I was determined not to let my children run all over me. I was determined not to let them do what they wanted to do or what made them feel comfortable. Everybody had to finish school. I don't care whether you go to college or not, but you're going to finish this K through 12. You were going to respect me. You were going to deal with the consequences of your ill behaviors. I was just a mom who was all over it. So when I saw this, the first video, I was like, oh, wait, hold on. What do you do here? Because these days and times, as we've talked about, it is not from years ago. Years ago, if you cut up in school, your parents came to school with a belt, they tore you up. And the teacher just stood by. A principal didn't say anything. Why? Because they were getting tore up too when they were younger. So they understood, spare the rod, spoil the child. But these days and times, because the discipline has become so extreme till it's abusive, we've got all of these rules in place, and you kind of get stuck with what do you do? So I was like, okay, this cannot be the introduction to this whole thing. So I just kept doing my searching, and I came across 2 additional videos that we're going to view and talk about today. Like I said, for me personally, the second one and the third one literally blew my mind, and I need y'all to get in this conversation with me, because I want to know what everybody else is thinking. Because see, I already know what Stephanie is thinking, and you know how your parents used to tell you, I'll happily go to jail. That might be where I would be right about now. So we got a check-in from our girl, Vivian. Hey, Viv. Thank you so much for joining us. And Renee says, yes, ma'am, that's for sure. We would get toe up and toe down. You definitely didn't try this garbage that they're doing now. Anika says, yeah, you got beat if someone had to talk to you. Absolutely. And it wasn't your parents. So, girl, God, I need y'all to view these videos, and let's talk about it, because there is so much more to be said. Video number 1, my girl, please.
Are you gonna buy me a new one?
No.
Are you gonna buy me a new one?
Nope.
You're not gonna buy me a new one?
Oh, yeah. No.
You buy me a new one?
No.
No.
Come on. You buy me a new one? No, no, it's done.
Now, whatever he wanted, he destroyed. That's the order that we're going in. And we're going from mild to extreme here. Trust me when I tell you, this is mild in comparison to the next 2 videos. Now, clearly, I've seen no, you ain't said what yet, girl. Trust me when I tell you. I've seen another version of this video before. And the other version of the video, he broke something that was in his possession, like a gift or a game or whatever it was. And he wanted mom to buy him a new one, and she told him no. And that's what he commenced to doing after. Now, initially, he tried to break it, and the bell didn't break it, but the pole did. Now, you never watch another TV program in my house ever again. Whatever you have seen, you will have to keep in your memory bank for whatever. Brother Al says, is he still alive? Lord have mercy, girl must be talking about me. Renee says, what? Serge is checking in. Good evening, Serge. Thanks for joining us. Vivian says, child, how did he have time to grab something else to hit the TV? See, that's where I'm going. Thank you, Anika. That's where I'm going. Now, I saw you with, first of all, when you picked up the baseball bat, something. No. We already destroying things, and it ain't going to be you destroying my things. Because I can assure you, he didn't buy anything in that home. He did not buy anything in that home. And yes, I'm sure he's still alive because Brother Al, I did not read about him in our due time news. So he is alive. What do you do here when you have a child who's determined to destroy something because he can't get his way? She can't get her way. First of all, I agree with Anika. There would have never been another opportunity for you to get anything. And whatever you got would be the last thing you'd hold on to in that house. There was a video that I saw. The little boy had to be about 7, and they were on the other side of the fence. And they didn't show the parents, they showed the little boy, and they were like, because you've been doing all of this and all of that, and you've been acting just the way you wanted to act, and because you've been doing exactly what you want to do, and because you want to have it your way, we've got something on the other side of the door for you. He was all excited. He was like, oh, yeah. What? And they gassed him up. And they opened the door, and he pushed him out, and he said, you got your freedom. At 7, you are no longer welcome in my house. This is where we have to go. I'm sorry. As a pastor, as a mother, as an adult, there is no way in the world we are engaging at this level. What are we doing here as parents? Now, I'm going to read you some statements that were made in the last video, because that's where we're really going to get controversial. And Anika says he would be shipped off to boarding school or sent to juvie just because. Yeah, just because you had that kind of attitude, just because you had that type of behavior. That was never acceptable back in our yesterday, ever. I don't care how old you were. I don't care what kind of household you came from. I don't care if it was 1 parent or 2 parent. You just did not feel that bold and that brave to do anything. The challenge was, you're not going to buy me? You're not going to replace whatever it is? Okay. Video number 2. Good evening, Shanties.
Stop. Chill. I'll kill you.
You gonna kill your mom?
Yes.
And you're gonna go to jail for a very long time. Stop. Let my daughter go.
No.
Let her go.
No.
Let my daughter go.
No. You guys won't let me go, so no.
Let her go.
No.
Let her go. Let her go. Let her go.
Never stop.
Let him go. Let him go. Let him go. Facebook. We've been dealing with this for 8 years. We need some help. Please. Anybody know? Somebody else?
We've been dealing with this for 8 years. We need some help. How do we get here? Where we've been dealing with this for 8 years. She said, let my daughter go. Initially, she said something like my goddaughter. Let my goddaughter go. It would be no camera. It wouldn't be no camera. It would not be a camera. There would have to be a third party there would have to be a third party videotaping, because I am not standing by and watching you pull on her hair, fight her. What in the world? This is madness. You are asking him, you gonna kill your mother? He said yes. See, here's the problem. For those who check in with us on Monday through Friday on his due time, we have done too many stories of the children killing the parents. We have done stories of young children. We have done middle age, 25 years old. Last week, I did a story of like a 44-year-old who killed his parents and set them on fire, set the house on fire. They died from smoke inhalation. The 25-year-old shot both his parents in the back of their head because he was arguing with the mother about paying rent and not paying bills around the house or contributing. She had him contributed or requested that he contributed, and he said he didn't want to. And the father was backing the mother up. They lived separately. They were not in the same home. I don't know how he got both of them in the house together at the mother's house, but he did, and subsequently ended up shooting them in the back of the head, execution style. 25 years old. Now I keep hearing, our children, we want them to be our, we befriend them opposed to being parents. We don't discipline them properly, and all of these things. And that's a large part of the problem. That's a huge part of this problem. Little messes were once big messes. Big messes were once little messes. How in the world are you on video? We've been dealing with this for 8 years. When you were 3, when you were 5, when you were 6, I was dealing with this, and I'm still dealing with this. Well, clearly there's no father in the picture, and I would definitely not be dealing with this. There's got to be a place for you to take these children when they are all out of control in very early stages of their life, regardless of who it is to blame. Now, if it's your blame, if the blame is on you because you didn't do anything about it, you ship your child off, but yet you didn't do what needs to be done when the time comes. And well, listen, I want to read these comments, and then I want to ask a question. All right. Shati says, the sound effects, right? Why didn't she punch him like a grown man like that 8 years ago? Renee says, wait, what? Bro, what the heck? The mama and the grandmama shaking my head. This is crazy. Oh man, it's on. I would have set up the tripod to record me slamming his head across the dashboard. Seriously, I'm not going to carry you, go through labor for you to be beaten and choking me. Back in the day, I would have gotten a beating after taking a shower. Sir says, you guys won't let me go, so no. Wait a minute, Big Bubba, you're trying to get me to join you in jail. With these videos, I will catch a case with these kids. Somebody needs to get them right. Shanti's, I have a question here. What are the first signs? What are the first signs that is going wrong as a child? What's the first sign of you behaving? I saw earlier some videos of one little girl yelling, "Clean home! Get clean home!" One other mother was telling the daughter, she was yelling at the daughter to clean her room, and she was yelling back, "No, I'm not cleaning my room." What are the first signs that we need to start responding in a harsh enough way that we are proving that we are in control? And that's what I'm putting out here right now. Al says there's going to be a lot of slow singing flower bringing. Unchecked antics when they get angry when they are little is one of the signs. Yeah. 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 What are the signs? Anika says, unchecked antics. First of all, when you raising your voice at me, oh wait, something wrong. What are the signs? And if this room is empty, is it because you don't know the signs? Al says the disrespect and not listening. Sean says discipline. That's what's missing. And discipline is not necessarily physical. Culturally, we've been programmed to beat our kids into obedience. Obviously, there were no consequences when he was a tot. Absolutely. And that's what I'm talking about, Sean. My question is, we see this coming. You know, we all talk on is due time about the red flags in a relationship. And the red flags are there. The alarms are there. But when we see our child at 3 yelling and becoming disruptive and disrespectful and doing all kinds of things, Shanti says the first time you're bold enough to say no, that's the first time you'll experience my fist for real. Vivian says hitting even at a young age. Vivian, how do you, and I think Teresa's in the room, how do you in the schools deal with the children who hit? Because clearly you as a caregiver and a teacher, you can't respond by hitting them. Because see, I'm with Sean initially. You know, we don't want to go for necessarily the hitting. However, I definitely have to address spare the rod and spoil the child. How far do we allow them to go before we begin to make it physical? That's the other question. Renee says, I'm trying to get these names together. Renee says, yes, I never played with that hitting with the kids. No play fighting or anything. Anika says, yelling back at parents like they are the same age. Vivian says, bold-faced lies. Ketty, that's not the first time he hit her. She should have stopped it a long time ago. Absolutely, Ketty. They or grandma or mom then already said, help, somebody help. We've been dealing with this for 8 years. Yeah, he didn't get like this on that day. No. Shanti says, you're bold enough to stand up. You're bold enough to get hit. So if we start off, we're disciplining by taking your phone or not letting you look at TV or, you know, standing in a corner or whatever it is. We don't make it physical. How long do we stay there before we get physical or we keep it outside of physical? Does non-physical discipline work for some children? I'm asking a whole lot of questions because there are a whole lot of parents in this room. If you're not parents, you're people who are some kind of a caregiver to children. Vivian, I'm still waiting for how y'all handle the kids in the classroom. When they hit, you know, when they're biting, what do you do? What do you do? Nika says, sadly, there has to be a deterrent the first time. You know, I have a granddaughter. We never had to hit Mariah. As soon as you started saying something to her harshly, you had nothing else to worry about. She just made the job so easy. But everybody is not like that. Everyone is not like that. You know, we have, you know, some people who say, hey, I was disciplined by an extension cord. I was disciplined with a belt. I was disciplined with shoes. You know, mom threw shoes at me. You know, all kinds of things that were physical. And for the most part, it worked. For the most part, it worked. Some it took a little longer than others, but for the most part, it worked. But how long do you stay hands off? Because sometimes the bad part about it is sometimes if you don't go there, you won't come up with anything else. All right. So I'm really interested. Shanti says you have to pay attention to which kids need verbal and which kids need physical discipline. Renee says, I agree. Check it the first time and it shouldn't happen again. Sean says to avoid tantrums, we cave to the behavior. Let the tantrum happen. Yes, it works if you implement the rules early. Say no often. Absolutely. Absolutely. In the class, Vivian is saying, in the class, they are removed from the group. If I have to, and sometimes I do, I have to restrain them, hold their hands, position myself so I'm not getting kicked, spit, or bit. I stay hands off for about an hour, Al says. So when our children misbehave in school, because if they're misbehaving at home and there is no proper discipline, it will go outside of the home. And that's why I was asking Vivian. Brother Al is in the school system. I believe Brother Al is a dean, and he is he's from 6 to 12. So Vivian has the little people. So that's why she's saying, sometimes she has to restrain them and hold their hands, but sometimes they end up taking the brunt of the beating. The hitting, the spitting, the biting. And Brother Al, how does the school handle fighting? What's the recourse? What's the discipline in school? Because here's the problem, mothers and fathers and caretakers and bystanders. If we don't do anything at home, if we start the discipline with just verbal, and it goes on and on and on, and there's no change in the child, because there were some children who are just like that. There's no change. If we don't discipline them now, the law will, because it's not going to stop. It's just going to get worse, and it's going to get worse, and it's going to get worse. It is not going to get any better. And now when you have Miss Vivian with your 4-year-old who was restraining him, trying to keep from getting bit, spit, or hit or kicked, that's one level. Because how long do they take that in the school? Is this like an ongoing thing, and they don't ever put the kid out? Is that the case? I'm just curious. I'm not saying they should or they shouldn't. I'm just wondering, is there a limit in low elementary school, in daycare? Brother Al says, in my school, fighting gets you suspended and your parent has to leave work and pick him or her up. Okay. So suspension is for how long, Al? And is it in-house suspension? Is it external suspension where moms and dads are doing, what they feel best for a week? How does that even work? Is it in-house suspension where there's some disciplining going on further than that, where, I don't know. How do we get creative these days when we don't put our hands on our children? Because some kids, it just doesn't matter. It just doesn't matter. Anika says, yes, if they are not disciplined at home, it's going to happen everywhere outside the school, stores, restaurants, anywhere. Yeah. Which is why these kids don't know how to behave themselves outside, which is why you get the temper tantrums outside. This is what happens when you don't either put together a non-physical discipline plan that is not going to be effective. What do you do after that? Al says it's in-house suspension, and it depends what they did. It could be for weeks. Okay, so for weeks you're taken out of the classroom. I'm assuming that you're given schoolwork. But how does in-house suspension differ from the regular going to the classroom? Are you in there with other children and there's some counseling going on? Or, at what point do you take your child to counseling? When you've tried the non-physical discipline and that doesn't seem to work, and sometimes people try the physical discipline and that's not working. Al said they're put in what we call the what room? The safe room. Or is it safe or save? In-house detention is all day. I understand that in-house detention is all day, but again, so Al says that they are straight isolated and they have to meet with the counselor. Okay. So hopefully with this level of counseling, okay, save. Okay, the save room. Okay, thank you for clarity. Now you have this isolation from everyone else, I guess, from other miscreants. They're in the same room with you. And maybe they have a separate session outside of this classroom with the counselor. And that's how we move forward. At what point do we even get outside counseling? What do we do? Well, I have one last video, and I'm really hoping this video plays to the end, because I am going to wait. Before you play the video, let me first read the controversial comments that have taken place in this video. So hold on a second. All righty. So you have this video I'm getting ready to show you. And here's what it says. A 12-year-old boy did such and such a thing because his mother confiscated his phone as punishment. While some blamed her for being too lenient and enabling the boy's defiance, others pointed to deeper generational issues and the growing influence of technology on children's behavior. Yet, amid the blame game, the most urgent concern remains. The boy fled the house following the incident, raising serious questions about discipline, emotional support, and child safety. Who do you think is actually to blame? Please play the video for us. Boy, I hope this plays.
Take the baby bag. Mercy. Oh my God. Oh my God. Mercy.
You have an ID?
Explain this to my job. Explain this to my job. Oh God.
The toilet is what got me. The toilet. The literal toilet bowl. Did you see the hole in the wall? Now, go back to what the challenge within the comments were, where people said that she was too lenient, that she was not strict enough on him, that one of the biggest concerns was this was a generational thing. This was technology driven because kids are too wrapped up in technology. And one of the largest concerns was he left the house Who in the world responds like this to your mother taking your phone? Who? We got a check in from Sharon. Hey, Sharon. Thank you so much for joining us. Anika says, oh my goodness, all for the phone. Renee's got all those mad faces and some cuss words being blocked out. How did he break the edge of a marble counter? The toilet? Absolutely not. We've got, they couldn't live with me anymore, putting them in the system. Bye-bye. Not ever, not never, Anika. Me too, the toilet. I would have been crying while I was breaking his neck because I knew I'd be going to jail. Big Bubba, here I come. She never, not ever in my house after this, because Big Bubba is going to be best friends forever. I said the same thing about the toilet. You're blaming technology for that? Right, Shantice. We got a check-in from Adele. Hey, Adele, girl, you just missed this video. You have to go back. How old is this child? I don't know. They don't say. Oh, Renee says 12. He's 12. Okay, so I guess I missed that part. I don't know why in the back of my head I was saying 12, but I just thought that was my own assumption. I would never care if he left the house. Somebody is actually saying the worst thing is that he left the house. He would need to leave that house because that would be his last time he would have ever saw that house again. What do you do at this point? Here's my question. Now, let's say for argument's sake, we go with, and I'm not being funny, I'm just saying we're taking this in stages. Okay, so clearly. See, I'm gonna be honest. I'm not believing that this is not a child with some type of mental illness. I'm not believing that this is not a child with some mental illness from younger than about 8. There's been an anger issue. Because let me tell you something. It takes a whole lot of anger to tear up a toilet, to put a hole in the wall that I saw on that video. It takes a whole lot of anger to break up a marble counter. It takes a whole lot of anger he destroyed the entire house. I've seen other videos of a little girl pulling some stuff off a table, somebody else knocking over a table because the phone was taken. This is my first time looking at this level of destruction. There has been some anger issues here before. You could never sell me on there's no anger issues. What do you do at this point? For real. So he's gone. We know that there's no way that he did not do it. Shanti says that child has broken something in front of her before. Absolutely. This is not the first time. This is not the first time. And I'm going to tell you something else. This is a child who's left home alone, because it couldn't be where you're left in the house with an adult. So see, all you had to do was break something once of mine at that age, and then we'd be checking you into someplace. There's some anger issues from very young that we're talking about. And if you don't get a handle on this thing, where do you go from here? I'm asking the room. We're not talking about what we're going to do physically, but seriously, how do we get to the next step? He tore the house up, hopped in the getaway car, and rode off into the sunset. Where do we go from here? Where do we go? I'm asking. Because for me, it's very simple. It is very simple. But I want to put out here something that I put out here every day. This is what happens when we're living in a godless world. This is what happens. When I talked about it this morning, and I talk about it almost every morning. This is what happens when we live in a godless world, when we are compromising on whether we should give our children to God or not. Now, can we guarantee that there will be no resistance and anger issues and all kinds of things? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. We cannot guarantee it. However, we are talking about setting you up for success. All right. We got you get put in a hospital where you wear the jacket that makes you hug yourself all day. Okay, because that's where you need to be, in all honesty. That's where you need to be. Adele says, out the door. Sharon says, God knew what he was doing when he gave me my children. When he did, because ACS would be at my house. ACS would be at my house. I'm thankful for my children. I'm from the old school. All I had to do was look at my kids. All right. Thumbs up, Sharon. Al says she better get him some help or she will be next. Renee says the child will not be back in my house. The child would be in somebody's psych hospital. Shantice is quoting 2 Timothy 3:2. For people will be lovers of self, narcissistic, self-focused, lovers of money, impelled by greed, boastful, arrogant, revelers, disobedient to parents, ungrateful, unholy, and profane. It's all been predicted, and all of you are hitting the nail on the head. Your next step is to somebody's psychiatric center. You could never come back in my house. And it would not be this issue of lack of forgiveness. But I'm straight with Al. Where do we go next in your head? Do I close my eyes around some psychotic individual like this? I don't care if you are my child. I am not chancing going to sleep around you. Every day of my life, I would make sure that you were locked into some kind of counseling, intense counseling. I'll come sit with you. I'll come sit with you. I'll come have the counseling sessions with you. We'll go to therapy and the whole 9 yards. But this here, like I said, the word in the comments were, she's to blame because she was lenient. And I don't know who said that. I don't know if this is some family member. I don't know if this is some close friend. I don't know. I don't know who made the statement that she was lenient and she compromised on how she disciplined her child. But this is a hell of a way to pay for lack of discipline on your child. All right. Sharon says, no way he would be living still with me, because if he did it to your house, what would he do to the mom? Yeah, anybody else he goes to live with. Yeah, he's got some serious issues. Adele says, and it's hard when it's your child. I'm trying to figure out what she's trying to say here. Given to live in fear of losing a roof over your head. Kids have no sense of responsibility. Anika says, I couldn't sleep with them still in the house. I had an uncle when he was younger, snapped like that. He was immediately committed and has been ever since. Sometimes having to live in fear of losing a roof. She's just lost everything. He made sure he destroyed everything. And I heard her crying and she was saying, how am I going to explain this to my job? I don't know what that means. I don't know if she's saying I'm going to have to be home, so I can't be at work. And that's the part she has to explain to the job. But definitely, Al, she's going to have to get a police report. She's going to have to get a police report, show that video, let them come in and let them literally see what he did, because he broke her job computer. Okay. That's what was up against the wall in the baby's crib. That's another thing. You have other children in your home. There was a crib in that home. You could never know. You could never live in that home again. Again, this is spare the rod, spoil the child, possibly. I don't know. I don't know the situation. This is scary. And, we pray on Sunday nights, every opportunity we get. And, several times we've prayed for our children. And we're going to have to pray for our children, and we're going to have to pray for parents, because there's a chemistry that needs to actually be in place. Sharon mentioned, and Al mentions, and we talk about it on the broadcast all the time, on his due time, that, years ago, all our parents had to do was look at us. If they had to resort to giving us a beating, I was one, you ain't never had to discipline me twice about the same thing. And I was not one who constantly got into trouble. Even as I got older, it was just like stupid little stuff that I ended up doing. But like not really some miscreant or something like that. But you have got to start very early. And that's why I asked the question, what are the signs in early childhood that you're having problems disciplining your children? See, here's the problem. Here's the problem. The problem is, well, somebody said 12. Renee said 12, Al. We're not dealing with the same children we dealt with back in the day. With my Gen Z, she's different than disciplining my older two, who are millennials. I have to discipline and deal with her from younger very differently. She was always very different. Very different. So there's a breakdown, and I'm still the same mother. I am a mother who disciplined, but when it came to her, I had to handle her a whole different way. When I disciplined her, I had to discipline her an entirely different way. Some of the things that worked for my two millennials did not work for her. So I had to go a different route with her. And, at times, you get a little lenient. They always say you break down with the youngest one. You do. You do. I think sometimes you just get worn out. But, you do break down. But I'm looking at the children that's coming behind her, the alphas. Because at the top of 25, we started with Generation Beta. So I'm looking at the alphas. And this is who we're talking about. We're talking about alphas. We're talking about the Gen Zs. These are the ones who are behaving the way they do. And it does not necessarily have to do with the way you discipline. They have a mindset of its own. Here you've got somebody talking about, it's technology's fault. Well, what can technology do? I guess they're trying to ultimately say what they're exposed to, because our millennials and us Gen X's, we did not have technology. We didn't have the world exposed to us. So, with the TikTok, one of the reasons why that became such a craze is because when other people tried to do these things, others went right along with it. And it made it much more popular, much more where everybody was doing it because you saw it. Back in the day, our visual was very limited. What we couldn't see right in front of us, we knew nothing about. We didn't read the newspaper. We didn't have the news, exposed to us. We had, channel 2, 4, 5, 7, 9, 11, and you got local news. You got local news. Now, news is worldwide. And this is what we're exposing our children to. So there's a lot of different ways you are going to have to discipline multiple children. And Renee, it's right. It's really hard today to discipline because you got to work. You're working through so many different issues. Last week we were told, hey, you want me to discipline my kids, but yet you're telling me as the authority how to discipline my kids, and you get mad and tell me I can't discipline my kids this way or that way, and yet you're ready to lock me up when it's time for me to discipline my child. And a lot of people are faced with that. In actuality, we're all faced with that, with there being a limit. The kids are going to school and they're reporting and they're telling and they're calling 911. Years ago, we would never think to call 911. That'd be the last time we had some fingers broken. The next time we try to call 911. Okay, so technology means watching YouTube. Folks online do this and get away with it, thinking you can do it too. And that's what I mean. Now it's the exposure. That's what they mean by technology. I agree. You're exposed to everything. So this is why they're blaming technology. So what do we do? What do we do? Do we not give our children telephones, iPads, tablets? Do we limit their exposure to the world? Because the less they're exposed to, the less they know. Well, here's the first problem. Schools are giving it to them, and they are doing with it what they do with it. Do we take it away if they're not doing schoolwork? We're not talking about the parents who give these devices to the children and let them just take away all day with it. They're babysitting the children. We're not talking about that. But we're talking about just having access. Is that the problem? Just their basic access. Are we not watching the company they keep? Are we not like our parents of yesterday who knew who your friends' parents were? You weren't going over to somebody else's house. If they didn't first talk to your parent and your parent knew where you were going, or somebody may have come and picked you up and dropped you off, or they did vice versa, one picked up, one dropped off, whatever the situation was. Is that where we go here? Are we watching? Are we being extra careful of the company our children are keeping? What are they exposed to in the school? Now our school books are no longer the same. That's another issue. What they have in material is not the same as what we used to have in material. What are we allowing our children to see in the home? That's another issue. Are we just doing whatever it is we want to do in the home, and we're not watching what we do, and we're living by this do as I say, not as I do? Is that the problem? Is it that we're so busy in ourselves, with ourselves? Are we pursuing our careers and school, and we're not giving them the time that they need? That we're allowing them to figure out how it is they want to spend their time while we do our homework. All right. Al says that's not going to work because you take it away and then they use the friends' devices. And I've heard other parents say that. When they're not in school, not at home, and you take that away, they go and they use their friend's device. What do you do? Well, the first thing above everything is give your child to God. Stop believing you living in a world that your child does not need God. I'm sorry if you feel that enrolling them in all of these extracurricular activities, being this helicopter parent, well, my kid need to be involved in something. The first thing they need to be involved in is church. They don't need to be learning how to do no karate, how to play no sports, how to dance, how to cheerlead, how to do anything before they learn who God is. Because once they have God as a firm foundation, it will change their lives. Whether you realize it or not, it is a life changer. You putting them in these karate classes and sports and dancing and singing and all of these things is great. It's great. You want to keep them occupied. You want to keep them busy. But when you are doing that, replacing God, then where do you go? Where do you go when they begin to act like this? Because at the end of the day, you stand a bigger chance if you take your children to church, you introduce them to God, you make it an enjoyable experience. You know, so many people are talking about, oh, well, we went 5 days a week and we were in there all day and all night. My grandmother took me and my mother took me. We had to stay there. And I didn't get a chance to do nothing. Make it enjoyable for your child. Include them. Make sure they go to a church where they can be included. Make sure that they're going to a church where they're all paying attention to one another. Include that. Make that first priority in your child's life, even before school. It amazes me how so many parents will, mandate that their children go to school and they will bypass church. All of this helps to give your child a firm foundation. Will your child be a saint or an angel? Absolutely not. Because they still are geared by the flesh and the spirit. We're all born in sin and shaped in iniquity. That's what we have to face first. But you want to introduce your child to God young enough where there's a reverent fear for him, where people are looking and watching over them, who are praying over them, teaching them how to pray when they leave the house, teaching them how to deal with anger, teaching them how to deal with disappointment, teaching them what it means to hear no. You know, I remember my mother used to say no, and she used to say, it's not because I don't have it all the time. She said, because you don't need it all the time. And as an adult, I appreciated just hearing no. Because when we hear no, and that's what we hear, and we kind of take it in, the way we choose to take it in, this is what you get. My mother told me no, I couldn't have my phone. It was a privilege for you to even have the phone in the first place. But we don't look at it like that as children. You know why? Because we don't look at it as like that as adults. We feel we owe our children phones. No, you don't. Our parents managed. We had a set of rules. You either went by them rules or you dealt with the consequences. And there are very little consequences to deal with. Here's your phone. This is what you get. I'm paying a phone bill. I can't reach you. You block my calls. You reject my calls. You don't answer me when I call you. We forget that phones are a privilege, that these iPads and tablets are a privilege. We don't let these children see that these things are blessings, that we didn't have these things when we were growing up, that there are other children who, as much as we don't think, there are children out here who don't have it. Just a very roof over your head is a blessing. How are we teaching our children how to appreciate the things that they have? So for this boy, his goal wasn't to behave so that I can get my phone back. His decision was to destroy everything because I don't have my phone. So my question to him, I would love to ask, so where did you think you were going from here? Same thing with the first boy. Because, oh, you're going to give it, you're not going to replace it, you're not going to give me another one. So he broke up a TV. And I believe it was a TV in the other version of this video that I saw. It was a TV that was broken. And now he breaks her TV. Clearly, there's no fear of consequences. And when you learn about God, one of the things you learn about is consequences. You learn that there are consequences to your actions. So we want to make sure that we give our children everything that we're supposed to give them. Stop believing that everything in this world is more important than God, because this is what you're looking at. All these explanations are given for this boy acting the way he did. Technology, mom wasn't, strict enough, and mom didn't do this, and the home wasn't this way and the home wasn't that way. It all starts with God. He is the Alpha, the Omega, the beginning and the end. There's more to be said than us just giving our children a nice life. The life can be more nicer or more nice than giving our children Jesus. There's some peace, there's some comfort, there's love when you give your child God. And until you realize that that must come first, then you throw all your chances of having any semblance of order in your house. When you don't take your child to church, when you don't go to church, you don't know the value of praying over your children. You don't know the value of covering your children while they're in their bedroom. You don't know the value of just going in their room and touching their bed and their clothes and their television and their devices. Asking God to cover everything that they touch, everything that they come across. I'm not saying we're going to have perfect children, because there's no such thing as that. But when you give your life to God, He will instruct you as to how to deal with your children. And as long as God is doing the directing, you will never go wrong. I'm looking at older people who have no control over. I'm looking at clergy. Kids are out of control. And I'm like, wow, that must be hell. Again, there's no guarantee. But listen, it's not because you didn't try. And that's what God is charging us with. He says, train up a child in the way he should go. And when he grows older, he will not depart from it. What God is saying to you is plant that seed. Plant the seed. Without the seed, there's no watering. Because God says one plants the seed, one waters, and He gives the increase. So He needs you, mom, you, dad, to plant the seed. And once the seed is planted, then there's something to work with. Because there's always something inside. There's that internal movement that goes on from that seed that was planted. You don't want to lose your leverage by not offering your child God. Thank you for joining me for There's More to Be Said. Sherry says, I'm not saying I didn't have issues sometimes with my kids, but I thank God I nipped it in the bud. My son was a handful, but I took him to court and got him some help. Thank God. Amen. 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 Thank you so much for joining me for There's More to Be Said. Pay attention to these videos. I don't care if it's happening in your house or not. Make sure you stay on your knees before God for our children. It's not just someone else's children. It's our children, because they are going to eke into your life one way or another. So you need to keep them lifted before God. Please make sure you join me tomorrow morning for Let's Talk About It Tuesday Church Folk Day on Its Due Time with Pastor Steph right here on YouTube Live, A Closer Walk Media, Christian Media Network, or Facebook Live, Coach for Christian Life. Join me, Pastor KL, Shantice, Pastor Vinny, Pastor Brenda, as we talk about the things that matter to us most. You don't want to miss it. Thank you so much for joining me. Please make sure you subscribe and hit that notification bell so that you are notified each and every time we load up here on YouTube. You won't regret it. Thank you so much. We love you all. Have a blessed week. Again, join us every morning from 7 to 9. If you can't watch, but you can listen, join us. Spotify, Spreaker.com, iHeartRadio, Audible.com, Amazon, Apple iTunes, Apple Podcasts, any place where you stream. All you have to do is type in A Closer Walk Christian Talk Show, or It's Due Time with Pastor Steph, or the Word Prayer Project. We're all over the place, but we're especially right here. Okay? So listen, you've got 1,490 some odd episodes. So go back and listen. You will not regret it. I love you much. Thank you so much for joining me tonight. Hopefully I'll see you in the morning, God's spares.